Hello and welcome. So today's practice is going to be about the core, and we're going to strengthen the core. We're also going to strengthen the spine as well. It'll be about 15 minutes practice, and there will be some repetitions in the postures to really build that stability and strength. Please work at your own pace and work with the modifications. If you feel that the modifications work better for you, then work with the modifications as well. So let's begin, first of all, by really opening up the spine in our cat-cow posture. So we're just going to come into all fours, and your hands will be underneath your shoulders, and your knees will be underneath your hips. The fingers will be spread, and we're just going to work with the spine in a nice flow. So as we lift the gaze up, we lift the buttocks up, and we have a little back bend going on. And then as we exhale, we'll round the back and gaze to the navel. And we just flow into this with the breath. We know that yoga is all about the breath, inhaling as we gaze up, exhaling as we round, gaze to the navel. And this is purely a warm-up, so just really feeling the articulation of your spine, feeling what feels good, what feels a little bit tight. We just do 3 more. Really working into that flow, beautiful movement for the spine. And then we'll come back to neutral. So we're going to take child posture, so just move the hips back and have your arms nice and long in front of you. So just nice long arms in front. So you have quite a stretch in the armpit area, which is what we want. And then imagine your hands are super glued to the mat. And don't move your hands, just spread the fingers. And we rise up back into the all fours position. Now we're going to move into downward facing dog. So I'm going to tuck the toes and lift the hips and move back. Everything moves back in downward facing dog. Now the hamstrings have not been warmed up, so we'll warm them up slowly. Right leg bends, left leg bends, and we just start to open up the hamstrings nice and slowly. Just warming everything up. And then if you want to, we can come into classic downward facing dog. Now the tailbone faces the ceiling, the navel is drawing to the spine, the hips move back and up. If your hamstrings are tight, you'll need to bend your knees to keep the back long. We want to have the back long, so bend the knees. Tight hamstrings, no tight hamstrings, start to draw the heels down a little bit more. They don't have to touch the mat. Now just focus on your abdominals, so draw the navel towards the spine. One more breath. And then bring the knees back down to the mat. Untuck your toes and return to child posture. Now the shoulders have had a little workout as well, so we'll just bring the hands behind us so we can soften the shoulders. Wiggle the hands and the wrist if you want to. Bring some energy back in there. And then we'll come into all fours. So we'll set ourselves up again. So hands under shoulders, knees walk back until they're underneath the hips. The left toe tucks and the right leg stretches away. So this is really option 1. We're just going to engage the core. Great posture. Option 2 is we're going to lift up that leg. Now you don't want to lift it too high because you'll throw your back out of alignment, so better low than high. In fact, if you look towards your back toe, you should be able to see it. Now the gaze is always at the mat. This is your option 2, and your option 3 would be stretching the arm away in front of you. Now if you're in this position, let's make it stronger, so make a ball of that fist that's in front of you and push that heel away that's behind you. Keep the hips quite level, draw the navel to the spine. We're going to do 4 more breaths. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Last one, and then we release and change sides. So the right toe tucks and the left leg stretches away. We re-establish hands underneath shoulders. We take this option 1 if we want to, but we engage the core. Your option 2 is to lift up. Remember, not too high, better low than high. Your option 3 is the opposite arm stretches forward. Continue to gaze at the mat. And your option 4 is make a fist of the front hand and push the back heel back. Now keep the hips level. Navel draws to the spine. Let's have 4 more breaths. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Last one. Inhaling. And exhaling. Bring the hands down, bring the knee down. Same posture, we're going to do it 3 times with shorter durations. We establish the hands underneath the shoulders. The right toe stretches away. We lift, engage. Option 1, keep those hips level. Remember your options, stretch, push the back heel away, make a fist if you want to. Focus on your breath, draw the navel to the spine. 3 more breaths, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Last one, inhaling and exhaling. Change sides. Right toe tucks, left leg lengthens. Remembering your options, engage the core, lift, engage. Opposite hand leaves the mat. Make that fist and push the heel away. Make it strong if you want to. Feel the postures. Try not to have that back foot too high. Keep it low, better low than high. Back is in alignment. 3 more breaths. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Last one. Inhaling and exhaling. Release the hands, change sides. Last one, shorter duration again. Remember your options, engage the core. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Back heel pushes away. 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, change sides, lift, lengthen, core is engaged, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Release, buttocks to heels, child posture. Bring your hands behind, soften the hands, soften the wrists. And then we'll come onto our tummies. So just being aware of what is called your Sphinx posture. So the hands can have a little bit of a rest here. We're going to work into the shoulders as well as the core. We do repetitions, long, medium, and then short, so that we really can keep the focus on exactly what we're doing. So I'm going to show you the modification first. So just going to come up onto the knees and have your shoulders in line with your hips and lift up the ankles. And draw the navel to the spine, and this will be your option. And then release down. Your deeper option will be forearm plank. So tuck the toes, lift up, push back, gaze at the mat. So really engage by pushing back through the heels. Squeeze the butts. Nice easy breathing. Keep your focus. Let's do 3 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Don't dip in your plank. Keep it strong. Push the heels away. Last breath. And then release. And we come back to our Sphinx. Breathe. So a little bit of a shorter duration. Tuck, lift, push back. Remember, you can always bring the knees down, lift up the ankles if it's all a bit too much. Gaze continues to be at the mat. Push away with the heels, navel to spine. Two more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Release. Sphinx posture. So I'm sure you're feeling a bit of fire building up in the body now. As we push through the forearms, you'll feel the stretch in the belly. And I'm sure you're all looking forward to the last one. The last one's short. So tuck, lift, push back. Engage everything. Strong plank. Just one more breath. And then we release. And we'll come back. With the hands underneath the forehead now. One on top of the other. And we'll just gaze to your left. And then we'll gaze to the right, nice and slowly as the movement. And some of you will just stay here with your forehead on the hands if your breath is still a bit ragged and if you don't want to do the next postures. The next postures will be downward facing dog and plank flow. Hands under shoulders, elbows, draw them in towards the ribs. We rise through the cobra and the back bend onto the knees. And we'll come back to child posture. You can also stay in child posture as well. See how the body's feeling today. So to transition from downward facing dog plank, we need an armpit stretch. We don't need to move the hands and feet to move into our plank. So super long arms. Anchor the hands to the mat, onto your knees, tuck your toes, lift your knees and exhale, downward facing dog. Transitioning into plank, we look at the toes, come onto the tippy toes, we float the shoulders over the wrist, we push the heels away, you can still bring the knees down. Exhale takes you back to down dog. Now inhale into your plank. As soon as we arrive, push the heels away, squeeze and control those legs that help you. Remember, you can pop your knees down if you want to. Exhale takes you back to dog. And then one more plank. Nice easy breathing. Exhale back to your dog. And then both knees on the mat. We return to the guys who are in child posture. Those who are on your tummies, you may want to come on to child posture. And from here, we'll come into all fours to take us onto our backs. So we're going to have the feet together and the knees together. And soften the shoulders down. They've had a little bit of a workout as well. So we are going to lift the buttocks up, but when we lift the buttocks up, we want the spine to be fairly straight. So we're not going to lift up too high to take it into a back bend. So we just lift up the hips, just a small amount. The back stays quite neutral. Feet and knees together. And now we're going to intensify that posture if you want to by stretching the right leg forward. Now you can bring elbows onto the mat and fists as well, which might help you control the posture. Nice easy breathing. Now the foot that's on the mat, think about pushing it into the earth and feel the difference in the strength of that posture. 3 more breaths. And release. Same posture, inhale, lift. Squeeze the buttocks. Left leg leaves if you wanted to. Navel softly draws to the spine. The foot that's planted on the earth, maybe push into that foot a little bit more. Breathe. 2 more breaths. And release. And the last one. Lift up, engage. Right leg lengthens. Just a couple of breaths here. Release. Lift, engage. Left leg lengthens. Couple of breaths. And then we release. Bring both knees into the chest. Have that little roll around. So we're going to just work into the external obliques a little bit. Modifications available. Open your arms. Keep your knees over your chest. Head gazes to the ceiling. We hover the knees to the right. So we don't land, we just hover. Inhale back to the center, and we hover the knees to the left. We don't land, we just hover. This is your option 1. Back to the center. Your option 2, we're hovering. This is option 1, option 2, straighten the legs. Keep the shoulders on the mat. Back to the center. Option 1, keep hovering. Option 2, straighten the legs. Keep both shoulders on the mat. Back to the center. Let's take your options. Option 1, hover. Option 2, lengthen. Back to the center by bending the knees. To the left, hover or lengthen. Back to the center. One more final option. You can continue with the bent knees. If you take the straight leg option, legs to the ceiling. Exhale over to the right. Keep the shoulders on the mat. Inhale back to the center. Exhale over to the left. And you can have bent knees and just be hovering back to the center. Both knees into the chest. And we little roll around on that low back. Feet flat onto the mat, one at a time. And we just settle here. It might be nice to keep the feet flat on the mat today. Just a short relaxation. So when we're thinking about the spine, quite often we may get back issues. And you need to be focused on how much water you're drinking, because sometimes the back just requires a drink of water to release any back issues. The spine requires a lot of water, so keep your water intake up. If you can sit on the floor as much as possible rather than slouching in chairs, that's also going to straighten and help your back. And obviously core work will really help strengthen the spine as well. So I'm going to come up, I'm going to show you a way to come up off the mat if you want to. Going to keep my feet flat onto the mat and lift up my buttocks and place my palms of the hand down onto the mat and bring the buttocks onto the back of the hands. I'm going to draw my knees into the chest. You may want to have a look at this and then rewind. Legs lengthen up to the ceiling. Now, as we take an inhale, we prepare for the exhale, the legs lower and the chest lifts, and we come back into Dandasana. I'm going to show you that one more time. So feet flat, lift up buttocks, hands flat underneath buttocks, knees and feet together, knees over chest, legs up to the ceiling. Take an inhale, and on the exhale, lower the legs, lift the chest simultaneously, takes you back to your Dandasana. So thank you very much for joining me. I do hope you enjoyed that 15 minutes of abdominal work. Maybe you could do this possibly about 3 times a week. So enjoy, build strength, keep your posture as well. Remember, posture is vital for our spines and our abdominals. No slouching. Shoulders back, shoulders down, chest open. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.